All right, we're back in the Apex, kicking off UFC Vegas 98.
Let's go.
Tatsuro Taira taking on Brandon Raw Dog Royval. But first, we're going to cover the whole main card, bottom to top, so we're going to end on the best fight, hopefully.
Bottom to top, I love it.
Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Josh Fremd in the middleweight division. That was funny. Respect. Abdul Hassan is 2-2-1 in his last 5. 3-inch reach disadvantage, but all his wins are knockouts.
Yeah, and this is a fight odds makers have a pretty close. Al Hassan is -150 favorite.
Yep.
Fremd +125. So leaning towards Al Hassan odds makers, but it's really like anything can go fight.
Now, Al
Anyone
Hassan
can win
against Cody Brundage. In my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, including the judges' scorecards, he was dominating Cody Brundage before the no contest. So, there you go. Josh Fremd, on the other hand, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, 2-3 in his last 5.
He hasn't done well ever since he didn't interview with us.
Yeah, well, that's on him. All his UFC losses are to guys with shorter reach than him, which is interesting. Fremd doesn't throw with crazy volume, but he mixes in takedowns. Albeit he's had some weird fights where he was like kind of gassed early. You know, just wasn't there. So I think his camp and all that is going to be important because he was actually scheduled to fight this fight. I still think, and I side with Abdul Razak Al Hassan, but I will be reaching out to Josh Fremd again to see if he wants to try to get me to side with him this time.
Yeah, maybe cut what I just said about him. But yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, I'm not going to cut it.
I got Abdul. Abdul goes in, gets the win.
Abdul I don't see why not, right? Like, there's nothing that, unfortunately for Josh Fremd, there's nothing that he's shown that tells me that he's going to beat.
There's no, like, clear, like, he has the advantage in this.
Right. Other than the age advantage, but sometimes that just doesn't
What are the
play.
age difference?
9 years.
Okay, that is
30 to 39, but there's nothing that Al Hassan has shown that shows that the age is playing a factor.
Yeah.
Some guys, it just, the age discrepancy just doesn't work.
Yeah, because the talent comes into play, too.
Right. Or also Fremd's output comes into play. You know?
Yeah, so we both agree on that. We both got Al Hassan winning.
Next fight, Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez. I used to shit on his nickname, but I kind of like it as it's grown on me over.
I like D-Rod.
Over
That's like
year.
his real nickname in real life. It's not one of the fake fight nicknames.
Not like, I don't want to say Mighty because that's a good nickname for Mighty Mouse, but like Thud, Austin Thud Hubbard. Like that's obviously
nobody's calling you Thud.
Right, that's just a fight nickname because you had to list one. Or you wanted to list one. But Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez is taking on Alex the Great White Morono. Daniel Rodriguez.
It's better than the Great White.
Yeah, I give you that. He's taken his sights to the top 15. Came up short all 3 times in his attempts over
Who's
Magny.
that, D-Rod?
Yeah, D-Rod. He fought Neil Magny. He fought Ian Gary. He fought Kelvin Gastelum. Probably one of Kelvin Gastelum's better fights, you know, especially in recent times. Morono, on the other hand, he's alternated wins and losses in his last 5. But
both guys are kind of at that level where it's like, can they make the jump? It's the constant question in the air.
Yeah,
odds
I'm
makers
on the age on both of these guys just running out before they get to make their title run. I just feel like they're going to be lower end welterweight fighters for the rest of their careers.
Yeah, it's not in it for some of these guys, but they're still talented fighters in the UFC. D-Rod does have the odds makers are favoring him at -200, Moreno at +170. So again, kind of like the last fight where there's an obvious favorite in it that the odds makers have, but it's also one that either guy has a chance to come out and win.
Absolutely. So for me, Rodriguez, he's coming down from his last fight, I believe was at middleweight, or it was catch weight because of Gastelum.
Yeah,
you know,
as usual.
Right. So he got to bulk up on the scales at least, but he still won that fight. Or he lost that fight, sorry. Because of that, I have to imagine.
That's what I'm blaming
He
it on.
strikes more per minute. He has slightly better takedown, but he has better takedown defense. Morono has shown to get gas later in the rounds. I don't know why he didn't do that earlier in his career, but the last couple fights he slowed down quite a bit on the 3rd round. He needs that 3rd round to win these decisions in a lot of cases.
D-Rod looks scarier too. I'm just gonna say.
Cooler tattoos, albeit Morono looks, you know, cleaner, more aerodynamic. I have to lean Daniel Rodriguez to win this fight just because natural ability, reach advantage, southpaw fighter, giving him a different look. I say just because. All of the above reasons.
I agree with you. I think D-Rod has what it takes to get this win. I think it's a pretty even fight, but I'm going to go D-Rod.
D-Rod. Next up, Grant Dawson, KGD versus Rafa Garcia. Grant Dawson's a bigger favorite in this lightweight contest. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He got knocked out by Bobby King Green 33 seconds into his last fight.
No, 2 fights ago. His last fight, he responded with a unanimous decision win. So that's always the question we talk about. First time you get knocked out, his first UFC loss, first time getting, as I said, knocked out. Not second time getting knocked out, but first time in the UFC.
Right.
How are you going to respond? He responded with a good win. Well, he had a good performance.
I bring up the knockout to say, like, 33 seconds, you didn't get beat, you got caught.
You got caught.
There's nothing.
You got caught by a dude that's, like, awkward.
Yeah.
Bobby Green's an awkward fighter.
King Green, excuse yourself. King Green's awkward. And now he might retire soon, so that'd be nice. KGD is 9-1-1 in the UFC.
So, I mean, as much as UFC records we look at, you're 9-1-1 in the UFC. I don't care who you fought. Like, you're a good fighter. You
want to hear a more fun stat than that?
You're consistently fighting.
He's 8-1-1 as a favorite.
8-1-1.
Grant Dawson. Rafa Garcia is 4-3 in the UFC, but he's 4-1 in his last 5. So he started off
including 2 straight wins.
Got back on the horse and performed way better in his
last fight was against Clay Guida, but it was all the way in April of 2023.
And Clay Guida was like 50.
But it's been a while for him. I mean, it's been a year and a half pretty much since he's fought.
Yep. Similar wrestling with Dawson that you're going to get every fight. He's a dominant wrestler, but his hands have gotten better every fight. I go back to the King Green fight. You get to just X that out because he threw like 12 strikes before he got knocked out. Once again, he got caught. Grant Dawson's going to win this fight, but if you're an underdog favorite, Garcia is 2-1 against longer reach, which Grant Dawson has the reach advantage by 2 inches.
Grant Dawson has the biggest odds in his favor of the whole main card, -450.
Yep.
Garcia is +325.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think Dawson's going to get the win. I think he is building. As you said, he had the bad loss, 33 seconds. He's been building since then, though. He's still young. I think he gets this win. I think he gets his 10th UFC win, which is a big deal. 10 out of 12 wins. I mean, not bad for anybody.
Especially in a very, very, very contested lightweight division. It's hard for people to move up. And somebody with, I don't want to say a predictable style, but a style that a lot of people, like a traditional style.
I guarantee you, your favorite fighter in the UFC that's in 155 in the past 12 fights does not have a better record than him, unless it's Islam.
Right, exactly. I like Grant Dawson here. I like him, eventually, hopefully soon, getting his first, ranked opponent.
Yeah, I think he
next ranked opponent, because I guess King Green might have been ranked around the time he fought. But
I think he gets a win here. I think he's kind of edging towards that.
Talk about edging. Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. I'm going to just lean on Chidi taking the win here.
What's the odds?
-175 in favor of Chidi.
He's
got a 5-inch reach advantage. I'm sorry, 3-inch reach advantage, 5-inch age disadvantage, but I just think he's the better fighter.
Give me Chidi.
Cool. Let's move on to
co-main event.
One we were going to talk about, and we are going to talk about.
The Iron Turtle.
Jung Park, the Iron Turtle, taking on Brad, the asshole, Tavares.
Iron Turtle coming off of a loss. His last fight was a split decision loss to Munez.
Yep.
Before that, though, he had, 4 straight wins?
Yes.
He's 7-3 in the UFC. I mean, so he's a guy who knows how to get wins. 3 submission wins in the UFC. He gets finishes, and he's taking on Tavares, as you said.
I call him an asshole because I'm still hurt from the Chris Weidman fight.
Although
you shouldn't do leg kicks like that to that guy, but
it was his first fight back too. Yeah, that was crazy.
I get your
both guys
desire to win.
Do have a common opponent.
They both lost to him.
To Gregory Rodriguez.
Yeah. RoboCop's a dog, though.
RoboCop is a dog.
If you talk about losses aging well, that's one. Aging pretty
Tavares has lost 2 out of his last 3. I'm sorry, 3 out of his last 4. But as we said, they're not bad losses. RoboCop,
he lost
Bruno
to
Silva, and then Dricus. So it's like,
I would say Bruno Silva's the only fight he should have, not should have won, but if you look at like the scope
first
of
round knockout, though, so it's like, But
obviously, he was dominant leg kicks. He dominated Weidman. He's from that camp that they just have very good leg camps. They have that as one of the skill sets, and I respect it. I just hate it.
And he's been in the UFC for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Since 2010, he's 15-9. One interesting thing, though, out of his 15 UFC wins, 13 of them by decision. He has 2 knockouts. So he's a guy that goes to the scorecards a lot.
Yes, sir. But he wins a lot.
Wins a lot. He's never been subbed. In Iron Turtle, his way to win, if he's going to finish you, he's going to sub you. So it's kind of an interesting little dynamic here.
Maybe in the UFC, but he's got 5 KO wins himself. He got them hands on him.
Yeah, but we're talking about UFC, brother.
Okay, fine. All right, listen. Park does have decent hands. He can hold his own in striking. We saw a couple losses where it kind of got away from him recently. You just mentioned that. But Park has better takedown accuracy than Tavares. Albeit, Tavares has better takedown defense, at least on paper. The thing that leads me to that is Park can check kicks. I know that. I've seen it.
Seen it.
He's good on the ground, but he can also defend when he needs to. I think this is kind of going to be a stalemate on the ground. It's going to be a forced striking battle. And I think I'm going to see Jung Park have the advantage. I think he's going to be able to check those dominant, aggressive leg kicks from Brad Tavares. And I think we're going to see the Iron Turtle win.
Yeah, so the odds makers, they agree with you. They have the Iron Turtle, Jung Park at -180 odds, Brad Tavares at +150. I agree with the odds makers. I agree with you. I think Jung Park gets the win.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's most likely a decision win.
I'd also like to point out, you mentioned the odds. It opened at -175. It's currently at 180. I just checked DraftKings. It's -196. So the odds are growing in favor of Park. So I like this. We like this.
Let's move on. Main event of the evening.
Brandon Raw Dog Royval taking on the undefeated 16-0 Tatsuro Taira. This is going to be a fun one.
Taira, as you said, he's undefeated, 16-0, 6-0 in the UFC, 2 KOs, 2 subs, 2 submissions. I mean, 2 decisions. So he does it any way you like it. Yeah. Tatsuro Taira will do it. And he's taking on Raw Dog Royval. He's a guy that's been in the UFC for a while.
Yeah.
6-3 in the UFC. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But he's a KO. He has 3 subs, 2 decision wins. But he's also been KO, sub, decision, lost each of those times once.
But you have to look again at the losses. 2 losses to Pantoja and 1 to Morono. Those are those are
good losses. He's also coming off.
Well.
He redeemed one in his last fight by beating Morono.
Yeah.
Although it was split decision, very close fight. But Raw Dog, he's one of those guys. He's been at the top of this division for a while.
And in all of those 3 losses, he was the underdog. He's 4-3 in the UFC as an underdog. So when basically fighting the champion or champion caliber opponents, he's unfortunately
lost.
That
tells you what people think about Tatsuro Taira, because he is -235 favorite.
Tatsuro Taira's been dominant in his 6 wins in the UFC so far.
He has been, but this is definitely a big step up in competition for him. Yeah. This is a win that if you come in and get this win, if you're Taira, not only do you keep your undefeated record, you move to 7-0 in the UFC.
Right.
I mean, this is a title shot if you win this fight.
I was going to say, this is major title implications for the flyweight division. Cool thing, though. We said Taira's 6-0 in the UFC. He's got 2 KO wins, 2 sub wins, and 2 decision wins.
Yes, I said that.
Pretty interesting. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the TV. But the other thing, he's 6-0 as a favorite. He's been a favorite in every one of his fights so far.
Well, he's going to be undefeated in any stat you look at.
Right.
He's undefeated.
He wouldn't have necessarily been a favorite in every one. He did have to fight that. So he's perfect there.
He hasn't lost as the underdog either.
He hasn't been the underdog. He's only 24, crazy. And then his last fight, knockout Alex Perez.
It was an injury knockout, but still, we'll take it.
I'll take it.
But yeah,
if it was your stats, you wouldn't let anybody say, "Oh, it was just this."
Taira's one of those guys. If he wins this, I think the hype machine is gonna. There's a lot of hype. If you're in the know, if you're a UFC nerd, like you know about this guy,
right?
He's been on the radar for a while, but he gets this win. I think he gets more mainstream, and then. I mean, he has a chance to be a star. I'm pretty sure probably in Japan, since he's probably the best Japanese fighter, he's already a star. I mean, he's so talented. He's so entertaining. Good-looking dude. He has a chance. Ayo, he has a chance to really skyrocket his career with a win here.
Yeah, Brandon Royval, if he loses this fight, he's going to give up the #1 ranking, which could very well be Tatsuro Taira's, title shot for Pantoja next. So I see Tatsuro Taira winning. You as well.
I agree. I got Taira winning.
Let's go. That'll be UFC Vegas 98 in the Apex.